We've just come home from our permaculture class. Our boots are still dusty and our minds are buzzing with new knowledge. Our teacher gave us a pumpkin and also some giant Russian hardneck garlic bulbs. And one of our classmates offered us a whole heap of limes. I'll preserve them later today, but first the garlic needs to go in. I actually ended up soaking the garlic cloves overnight with a mix of seaweed extract, worm tea and Nutritech Bam, a cocktail of life. With this bed that we're planting into, we actually started it off with cardboard over the old tired grass to smother it out, and then we added layers. First some rich dark soil and then some mushroom compost, and then finally a thick layer of mulch. Soaking them overnight gives them a bit of a jump start, and to sow them properly, I parted the mulch gently and tucking it back like a blanket, and I poked a hole about 2 inches deep with the pointy end up and the root end down. Each one I spaced about 30 centimetres apart at this point, so they've got room to breathe. I pressed them gently into the soil and then covered them up. I'm pouring the soaking liquid over the bed as a final offering. Then I'm going to water deeply. This bed is a shared space now. The beetroot is thriving. Its dark leaves are catching the last of the afternoon light. It won't be long before we pull them out. And then there's the giant spinach, a gift from Rex and Chris, and I think it's going to be huge. I've also recently tossed some calendula seeds in here too. Their golden blooms will bring joy and pollinators alike. And when I'd emptied all the liquid out of the bucket, I saw that there was heaps of garlic cloves in the bottom, so I'm planting them everywhere. It's a small thing, this garden bed, but it carries the weight of our hopes. As I part the mulch and press the clove into the soil, my mind drifts to Eli. His biopsy results came back last week. He's been diagnosed with Congenital Hepatic Fibrosis, stage 3. It's really rare. So rare that his team of specialists are still learning as they go. He's got a massively enlarged spleen, cysts on his kidneys, and the doctors now suspect autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease as well. They're things you're born with, and they're hidden until they're not. His liver's main vein isn't working properly. It's called portal hypertension. And so his body, clever, desperate, has started growing varicose veins around the liver, in his stomach, and even in his esophagus, just trying to get the blood to where it needs to go. But those veins can burst without warning. So he's already had to go to hospital and to have some of them banded. They'll have to do it again and again. Each time a little more. They can't risk doing too many at once. It's slow and it's frightening. There's no cure for CHF, no fix, just managing the symptoms, hoping that we can stretch time, hoping that we can hold him safe within it. Eventually he may need a liver and or kidney transplant. No one knows for sure. There's no roadmap, only the road ahead. Still, he's in really good hands. He's got a great team of specialists and some of the best, even if none of them have seen a case quite like his. And Eli himself, he's braver than all of us. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that's left kind and thoughtful comments to us in our videos. We really do appreciate it. It means the world to us. The first time they told me that Eli might need to have a liver transplant, I cried, and I really felt quite alone. So it's so nice to feel like you guys are there with us. I ended up taking some of the mulch off the top of this bed actually and moving it somewhere else because I felt like the mulch was just, the layer was a little bit too thick. Later that afternoon, I gathered my sunflower seeds, which I've been drying for a couple of weeks now. I drop them all into this tin here and label the top, and they'll be ready for planting in spring. This tin is chockers, and it only came from one giant sunflower head, one that Lana gave us, our permaculture teacher. I'm super excited to see how these go in springtime. So I rinse the limes and then I cut them up, and then I squeeze some into ice cubes for freezing for later, and then others, some of the other juice I just kept in a bottle for cooking and tea and anything else like that, and then the rest are going into the preserving jar. I'm just sterilising that jar first before putting the limes and the lime juice in. So the rest of the limes and the lime juice go in the preserving jar, layered with some garlic cloves and some red chilli. I use the ball recipe, a simple method that calls for shaking daily and storing in a dark place. And in a few weeks, the flavours will deepen. It'll be a little bit of summer on a cold day. And Mum's been staying with us for a bit. She's a godsend with the chickens. Every morning she lets them out, and every evening she sees them home again. The next morning, Paul and I tackle the potato hay bales. We'd seen Millie from Gardening Australia trying it once, and I don't think she had much luck, but we still figured it was worth a go. So we just need to break open the bales with the gardening fork. It's definitely not a big harvest, just a few small potatoes, mostly tucked into the cracks where the soil had fallen in. We probably didn't water them enough anyway, and either way, you might laugh at the harvest that we got right now, but the harvest that we got last year was even worse, so we're actually improving. We collect what we can, tiny dusty potatoes with thin skins and the smell of fresh soil, enough for a couple of meals, maybe a stew or something like that. And the good thing is that the broken down hay, we can use that for the compost or for the garden. Nothing's wasted. As we turn the corner to check another bed, we spot volunteers, small potato plants from last year's harvest. So we just dig gently, uncovering a few tiny little nuggets. It's humbling. The land gives us what it can when it can. I think next time we'll go back to a dedicated potato bed. Then I move on to the galangal. It's ready to harvest. I tip the pot sideways and pull out all the galangal and roots after loosening it from the pot. Galangal plants are like they love the warm weather, so they can grow in full sun or part shade, but you need a location that they'll receive at least 3 hours of full sun each day. A position that receives the morning sun and afternoon shade is ideal. I try to loosen the soil a little bit with my hands and try to tease some of the roots apart, but then I figure I'll get the hose and put it on jet and spray the roots to loosen the dirt and separate the roots better. I believe that galangal is a cousin to ginger. Its roots thick, knobby and fragrant. Some folks say that turmeric and ginger can survive out here all right, but I'm a bit hesitant. I've worked too hard to lose them to frost. To harvest the galangal, I break apart the clusters of roots, setting aside the biggest rhizomes for the kitchen, and the smaller, leafier pieces will go into new pots with fresh soil. I'll overwinter them in the greenhouse. Fingers crossed they'll survive. Galangal plants need well-drained soil enriched with plenty of organic matter, so I have added some compost to this soil as well. Container growing is recommended for temperate and cold climates. I really need some bigger pots for these galangal too, but I don't have any bigger ones that are empty at the moment. Container grown galangal might also need additional fertiliser through the growing season to encourage healthy growth. Galangal plants grow from the rhizomes, which are swollen pieces of stem that grow horizontally under the soil. So the shoots emerge from these growing points on the rhizomes. So galangal plants need soil temperature of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius to produce shoots. These ones already have shoots, obviously, and you're supposed to plant them 10 centimetres deep with the growing points facing up, so the soil just covers the rhizomes, and you're meant to space the rhizomes 20 to 30 centimetres apart. So when I repot, I'm actually repotting from one pot to two, but they're still really not far enough apart from each other. But hopefully next year I'll have some more pots to move them into. If you're just planting the rhizomes by itself without any shoots, which is what I did last time, you just need to keep the soil moist but not wet until the shoots emerge. You shouldn't let galangal dry out, and another thing to remember is to avoid trying to water the leaves of the plants to avoid any fungal diseases. I'll give these a regular watering with some seaweed or sea salt, and I'll give them some liquid fertiliser during spring. I usually use Charlie Carp to keep it all as natural as possible. If you think your rhizomes are too crowded, you can lift them in spring and break them into smaller pieces and replant. Galangal should be ready to harvest in approximately 160 to 190 days. They're ready to harvest when they're large enough to eat and can be harvested as needed or all at once at the end of the season. The shoots and peeled young stems of the galangal can also be eaten as a vegetable. And you can store the unpeeled shoots and stems short term in the fridge. I could have let this galangal go a couple more months and wait until the leaves started to go yellow, but I was worried about the frost coming.
Change is constant, learning to flow. All the unknown, lemons thrown.
So here's what the galangal roots look like. I've just finished washing them and then I'll take them inside.
Colors and contrast making it art. What if happy can be built? Tuning into all that's good. Lucky I learned what lemons can do. Lucky they let me here with you. Lucky. Ain't it funny? Thought I was lacking. Then I realized all is within. Are your thoughts friend or foe?
And these are all the ones that I will repot now. It's a good idea to cut back the galangal before winter if you're in a colder climate like ours as well, where the frost can hit hard. Trimming galangal helps it conserve energy while it's going dormant, so I'll cut the foliage back to just above the soil once it begins to yellow and die down naturally. This allows the plant to rest over winter and focus energy on the rhizomes below. Keeping the trimmed plant in a sheltered spot or greenhouse will give you the best chance to help it survive until spring. And here they are repotted and in the greenhouse for overwintering. I wash the galangal roots inside again, and then I'm trimming off all the scraggly bits, and then I'll put them into a little cane basket to dry a little before I freeze them.
The difference. May I have peace to accept what I can't change. Courage to change the things I can. Wisdom to know the difference.
Galangal has a flavour unlike anything else, sharp and peppery with citrus notes that wake up a curry or a broth, like a struck match in the dark. You can use it in bone broths when someone's sick, or just steep it in hot water with honey for some warming tea that cuts through winter's damp. You can peel and slice the galangal before you freeze it if you like, if you want to use it in soups and things like that, but I prefer to freeze them whole and grate them fresh into stews and broths, and I just use the skins as well. Meanwhile, we've just realised that our neighbour has started burning his paddock. The grass goes up in smoke and plumes rise into the pale blue sky. Stay wild, and I'll chat to you next time.